Welcome back to another rendition of our podcast, whose name I don't think we still have come up with. But
I just came up with a good one, I think. The Starting on Time podcast. What do you think?
I'm gonna.
Or
I
the
don't
Never
like
Late
that,
podcast.
but I do kind of love starting on time. Or can we start on time? Something like that. Starting on the concept of starting on time. Luke, write that down. Record that, Luke. That's the concept of starting on time is good for this. I like that. So anyway, here we are on time, ready to rock. We've got some interesting topics today, but let's go around the table real quick. I am Eddie. I am hosting today. I am joined today by my co-hosts Luke and Boston.
Yo.
Gentlemen,
Hello.
good evening. Let's begin. We kind of started talking about some of these, I think for sure. I kind of want to, you know what? I'm the host. We're going to start with this one. I'm planting my flag in the ground on this. Rotten Tomatoes was absolutely horrible for cinema. And I'm going to go a step further and say it was horrible for movies too. I think that Rotten Tomatoes came in and kind of took away the individualism and kind of made it groupthink. And that's my take. I'm going to die on this hill. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts?
Agreed. I think my theory for Rotten Tomatoes is this is something I think a lot of people don't realize. If you take a movie and every single critic rates it a D minus even. If every single critic rates it a D minus but no lower, it'll get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
How? Explain that to me.
Because if it's a D minus, it's still a fresh tomato. Because I think it's a 59 is when it becomes a Rotten Tomato. And so if it's a D, then or a 60%, it gets a fresh tomato. So you give it 100 million fresh tomatoes, 100% of the tomatoes weren't rotten. Isn't that a scam?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a scam. It makes mediocre movies seem like
that's like the emphasis of C's get degrees,
It is, yeah, because it's a pass fail basically, and it takes a 60% and it makes 60% a pass.
And this is my issue with it.
It's also not the angle I thought you were going to take, by the way. I was ready for you to take an entirely different angle than that particular one. Yes.
What were you expecting Luke to take?
I was expecting Luke to say something along the lines of like, and this is kind of like my relationship with Rotten Tomatoes, is too many people go and look at a Rotten Tomatoes score before watching the movie and like skip over very good movies because they get like less than a 79 on the popcorn score or whatever it is. So people just like miss movies that are really good but may not be for everybody.
Interestingly enough, that's actually my issue with it. My other issue with it is that I end up watching movies that objectively suck because I was conned. A fraud was committed against me. That's how I feel about it. That's why I'm a big anti Rotten Tomatoes guy. I used to. It's funny because I think meeting Luke and talking to Luke and becoming friends with Luke is one of the big reasons why I'm like, dude, fuck this, bro. Like so much goes into the movie making process. At first I was like, oh, nice convenience for the customer. But what I realized is, it goes back to that old business saying, like, if the thing is free, you are the product.
Well, it's like that Bill. There's a Bill Burr routine where they're like, we just want your phone number when you buy at the grocery store, and he's like, it's just your phone number. What's the big deal? He's like, no, because you're up to something. I know you are. I know you don't want to make less money. And so it's kind of like that where you're like, why is Rotten Tomatoes so like such a big deal? Why is everyone, why is it all over the place? And it's like, oh, because it's kind of a scam. It like makes mediocre movies get really good scores. And this is the second part of it. I think this happens to everyone. You look at Rotten Tomatoes, you see that the movie got a 95, and then you set your brain as like, oh, this is a good movie. And then you go in and
you have expectations.
Yeah. Same with it's like, oh, this is a 49%. Oh, it's probably going to be bad. It sets people's expectations. And I think people are weak to that. I think if somebody sees like, it's the what's that story? The Emperor's New Clothes, where like nobody wants to be seen as like stupid. It's not necessarily like they think all the critics like this movie. Well, I don't want to be stupid, so I like this movie. But they'll just see 100% Rotten Tomatoes, and then they'll go in being like influenced by that.
Are we talking about Emperor's New Groove?
No, New Clothes. It's sort of based on New Groove though. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? New Emperor's New Clothes.
Is that just story where the emperor goes around naked and no one wants to tell him or something?
Yeah, the scam artist is like, oh, I'm inventing an outfit for you, and it's amazing, and it's so beautiful, it's the greatest outfit ever, but if you're too stupid, you won't see it. And so then the king is like, doesn't see it, but he doesn't want anyone to know, so he's like, oh, I mean, I can see it. It looks amazing. This is so good. And then he goes outside, he's naked, and then all the people in the village are told the same thing. So they're like, oh, yes, it's amazing. Of course, it's such a beautiful gown, because nobody wants to seem like they're stupid. And then the story ends. I guess, Eddie, you don't know the story. The story ends with a little kid pointing out, like, yo, he's naked. What's up with that? And then it kind of shatters everything. Yeah, so that concept, though, is true. I think people are like, oh, it's a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes. And then they go to the movie, and then they go to a bar afterwards. And people are like, what'd you think? And they're like, oh, I don't want to seem stupid. It's obviously a good movie. It's amazing. And it like influences their opinions. It's a scam.
I don't know if I can even come up with an example on my own right now, but I'm going to put this question to you. Name one movie that most people love that you thought was stupid.
Oh boy.
I
have lots of them, actually. I'm kind of notorious for disliking movies people liked.
We're on the third episode. Luke's about to alienate half our audience.
I know. I don't like talking about it because it usually just makes people upset because they think they like take it personally because I don't like movies they like, and then they're like, well, why? And I'm like,
I'm trying to think of one myself that like
I don't like a lot of the Marvel movies.
Me neither.
I didn't like Dune. I didn't like
Rogue One. Marvel movies don't you like? Oh yeah, Rogue One's the big one.
I don't like Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies very much.
What are you doing?
I know.
What are you doing?
Rogue One's a testy one, but everyone loves Rogue One. I think it's really boring. I don't really like it at all. I know. I could fight like aggressively on why I think it's not good, but it's not always that fun to do that because if people like it, go watch it.
We've had that conversation, you and I, and honestly, my position on that is just that, you know, as it relates to you, some people just don't understand art like other people, and that's okay. It's all right. Yeah. You're just not going to get
preferences. People are wired differently, so I have like a very particular way that I watch film, and I'm pretty harsh. And I've always I don't. It's like it's not intentional, but I just am. I just very picky about what I enjoy in films. But the films I love, I love so much.
That's fair. I'll tell you, here's a movie that I think is unbelievably good that I love that a lot of people don't like because they don't like the way it makes them feel is The Hateful Eight. I think The Hateful Eight is a great piece of cinema, and a lot of people do not agree with me on that. And that's okay.
I agree.
They're allowed to disagree with me.
But I also understand that people... It is kind of a tough one in certain ways. Just like, well, I mean, even Pulp Fiction is like that. Like the whole GIMP scene in Pulp Fiction is kind of like... Ooh, this is
it's hard to watch.
A lot. I can see people skipping this whole scene in this film.
I like Hateful Eight because there are no heroes.
Yeah.
There's no heroes. Every character is written so that you are going to despise that character at some point or another. You might like that character right now, but in chapter 2, you're gonna find out you really don't like that character that much, or this thing's gonna happen and you're gonna realize like, oh shit, this other character is a real piece of shit. Like it's honestly, it's great.
I'm trying to think of a film that I dislike that a lot of people like, but I'm kind of blanking on it right now. We just did all the Marvel movies and Star Wars, so that's kind of like what's stuck in my head. But I just don't think a lot of movies these days are really that good. I think the golden era of film was like the 70s and 90s. And like very early 2000s, and then like
I totally I was just saying I disagree. I think the greatest films were in the late 90s and the early 2000s they peaked around Transformers. That's when we got the best CGI. Agreed,
actually,
and we were making stupid movies, like stupid. We're making movies about people that are dreaming inside of other people's dreams that are crazy. They're so good, and we're making movies about Transformers that are so good. And then and we're making movies about blue aliens that look like crazy shit. And now it's.
I think around social media, like around like 2011, 2012, like things. I think music and movies just sort of like started to fall off a cliff, and I think Rotten Tomatoes is part of that. Speaking to bring it back around,
did you see what Matt Damon and I think Ben Affleck said on the Joe Rogan Experience about like movies are being written to re-explain the plot like 4 times throughout it because people are on their phone so much they have to keep reminding the audience.
I did see that, and I think that's true. Also, I think this is kind of a theory I have. I think a lot of movies now are written so that they are easily translatable to other countries, so that they can make more international money. So like they can't be too American. They can't be. The dialogue has to be like very simple. The jokes have to be really simple because it has to be able to translate into like Mandarin or something, or like the languages in India. And so they.
So stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it is a business, so I can't exactly fault them, but it does tarnish the art form, I think, of film.
And that's in turn going to tarnish the business down the line 100,000%. When you start making shit, nobody watches anyway. So,
well, that's the thing is what happened to the good old days when like we had like Shanghai kung fu movies where like the jokes like they were dubbed over in English and the jokes didn't make sense, but they still made them. And
you seen Kung Fu Hustle?
Dude, I have not seen Kung Fu Hustle.
Isn't it a comedy sort of?
Yes, it is a comedy. Yeah. It's so good.
I don't know if I've ever seen it though,
bro.
That movie's so funny.
Dude,
what you were just describing, Eddie, is Kung Fu Hustle.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, what happened to like that whole like? Because that's a parody. Dude, Kung Pao Enter the Fist was my favorite, bro. Quick aside. I had to give a presentation or whatever in middle school, and it was like one of the things was like, "What is your favorite movie?" And I was like, "Kung Pao Enter the Fist," and I got in fucking trouble because they were like, "That movie's rated R. You shouldn't be watching that movie," like some shit like that. I was like, "No, what are you talking?" It had to be early in the middle school. Actually, I'm thinking about.
It's so funny like elementary school
or whatever. Dude, yeah, because
you're encouraging the other kids to watch these sinful films.
They were like, "What do you like about this movie?" I was like, "It's a comedy. Like, what's your favorite joke?" And it's like, there's a part where he's like, "I need a pound of nuts," and then like the guy who's like the guy who's selling the nuts is like, "That's a lot of nuts. You want fries?" Like, whatever, dude. It's so stupid, but it's just so good, bro. God,
I think a film that a lot of people were very critical of that I think are good, like as they're not good in every single aspect, is Transformers 1 and 2. I think that I know a lot good. I think the action is great. The sound effects are really good. The special effects are really good, and I even think they're funny.
The story's not bad.
I think they are funny.
The jokes are kind of good. Funny. The jokes are kind of good. I'm not gonna lie.
They don't always land, but they're better than Marvel movie jokes.
No, but yeah, 100%. And like you have the Shia LaBeouf kind of like, dude, something about Shia LaBeouf
really good in those. He's really good. I think.
But he as a person is like a weirdly serious but also goofy person. He's like weirdly goofy where like and you see this in a lot of movies with him too. You see this in what's this tank movie?
Oh, Fury. I've not seen that, but I've heard it's very good.
He plays a super serious character, and that super serious character is cracking jokes all the time. It's that classic Shia kind of like it's the same way Wiki of like, yup, I'm gonna be really serious on this mission, bro. I gotta save the Earth. The Transformers are here, but I'm gonna get into a situation and I'm gonna make some joke real quick. And what's the problem? You know, like
he pulled his tooth out for that film. He like pulled his tooth out actually for Fury.
For Fury, yeah. Dude, Fury might be. I don't think Shia peaked at Fury. He really did. Fury is. You should watch Fury. You would like Fury.
No, I've had multiple people tell me I should watch that film.
Well, because you specifically would like it because it's a lot of actors that take their job real fucking serious, and it's the whole movie takes itself real fucking serious.
Oh, I just thought of speaking of which, I just thought of a movie that I saw that a lot of people just loved and I didn't like.
Oh, perfect. Let's go. I'm so ready for this.
1917. That's that like really cinematography crazy movie. I just didn't think
where he runs along the trench and the stuff blows up.
Yeah, and I'm not really even that hyped about that cinematography. It's impressive.
I kind of agree with you.
It's like pretentious.
It was very impressive.
Oh, and I was very critical of Birdman too. I think the Birdman soundtrack is really simple.
I haven't seen Birdman, but I want to.
So like
don't hate on it.
It's a lot of long takes, which is impressive. But I don't like when movies do long takes too much, because usually with movies you get my screen turned off. You get a bunch of that's funny. I see Eddie's whole room light up.
Yeah, your screen turned off, but my light turned off.
I know. Your whole room was in the dark. When you do a movie, one of the things I think is important in the art form is you get like 10 takes of one actor, then you get 10 takes of the other actor, and then you go through all the takes, and then you pick the best take of this actor, and then the best take of this actor. And then in movies like Birdman or 1917, they try to do like 5-minute long, no cuts takes, which are impressive. But then like the acting is usually not as good, because you're like, we got the focus, we got the lighting, we got the effects, we got the camera work, the acting is pretty good, it's good enough, let's move on. And it just like kind of tarnishes one of the most important parts of film. And I didn't like 1917. I thought the acting was kind of cringe. And yeah, the
acting wasn't great. One thing that pissed me off as a history fucking guy about 1917 was that there are literally hundreds of thousands of different, you had to kill off one of those two characters throughout the movie, and I understood that. The minute they went into the mission, I knew one of them wasn't coming out of it, and I wasn't sure which one it was, but literally there's hundreds of thousands, probably millions of ways that people died in the First World War. I'm not saying that that's not how they died, but that was so anticlimactic for me. You know, like the First World War was such a meat grinder and such a problem, and there's so many gut-wrenching ways you could have killed that guy as the writer, and you decided to kill him in that way. And like, I get it, because you got to like have like the
conversation. Remind me how he died. I remember the plot like vaguely, and that just goes to Luke's point that it's a very forgettable movie.
Doesn't he just get shot?
He gets shot. He gets shot by a pistol, but the pistol is being held by a pilot that crash landed, that they went to go save.
And the guy in the plane shoots him.
Correct.
I do kind of like the startling aspect of that, but
nah, fuck that. There's so many different startling ways you could kill somebody in the First World War. That's my point.
Why would they give a pilot a gun?
They all carried a pistol, because in the First World War they were constantly taking off and landing.
So they could kill themselves if the plane caught on fire. They couldn't get out.
That was part of it too, yeah.
Not to be dark.
That was part of it too. If you were like, yeah, no, that's definitely part of it. No, yeah, but it wasn't just that. It was that like sometimes like you would ditch your aircraft. Like there's I can't remember the guy's name now. It's gonna drive me nuts. But there's a World War I pilot for the Americans that's like a super cocky son of a bitch, and they don't credit him with his first couple kills, because he goes off and does them like on his own without like telling anybody, and they're like, nobody saw this, it didn't happen, whatever. So he shoots a dude down, he goes and gets proof from that, he lands his plane right next to it, he goes and gets proof of that fucking plane, he takes off again, he sees an American observation balloon, and then he fucking goes to that one, he's like, did you see that kill? Sick, fill this paperwork out. Like, it's just whatever, World War I shit. But the point is that like, yeah, it was very like, I do remember walking away from 1917.
I would have to watch it again, but I just remember
I don't really like this movie that much.
Exactly. Usually when I watch a movie and I leave the theater or I stop watching it on my TV at home, wherever it is, I will take note of something I liked, where I was like, oh, that one action scene, or like that one acting moment, or like the music, or like this, the lighting, like whatever, I'll take note. But if I leave and it was like, nothing, there's nothing to write down, I wouldn't write anything down about that movie at all, it means I didn't enjoy it, and then I'll go back and rewatch them, and it's very, very, very rare that I will enjoy it. And 1917 was one of those films. I just didn't, there's nothing in it that really I got excited about.
That's kind of how I felt about Dunkirk, honestly. Like, I was not
Dunkirk too.
People thought
I did not like Dunkirk. I did not like.
I remember multiple times in Dunkirk, like breaking immersion and thinking to myself, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, I just wasn't interested. I think Nolan's not always great with characters. He does like good ideas and good like concepts, but not always like character-driven stories.
There were no characters. I mean, there were like, there's like the old man and the kid and like the pilot or whatever, and like, okay, and like the but like,
okay
we don't really
moments
get like
in it, you know. But
yeah, we don't
overall,
get like depth.
No.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. Okay, all right, that's enough about cinema and movies and Rotten Tomato. I think
I got a transition for you.
Oh, hit me with a transition. I love a transition.
Why are there not more World War One video games?
Bro, that's a great question.
And a great transition. Excuse me.
Dude, and it brings me to a really good point.
What do you think would be better about a World War One over World War II video game?
I think the World War II video game has been done so many times that unless you do an elite brand new version of it, like what's this one that just came out like last year? It's like
the World War One video game
I know
would
what
be
you're talking about.
Naturally slower paced because
it's much more difficult.
Of automatic rifles was not really a thing yet.
And not only that, there's not really like it's line combat. Line combat's not fun, you know.
Wait, what was that game? The game that just came out. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not called For Honor. It's not. It's called.
It's like it was like a military game that was like
everybody was playing it. Shane Gillis was playing it for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's at the tip of my tongue kind of thing. I'm not gonna be able to think of it.
It's like For Blood or like, you know.
I'm just gonna Google it really
quick.
It
had some hard ass fucking name.
Yeah. I'm gonna find it in like 1 second here. No.
No, ask ChatGPT.
It's like Over the Top, and it's like no, that's not it. That's not the game. I don't know what that game is. The Outer Worlds 2. No, that's not it. ChatGPT, come on. You're really failing right now.
Dude, actually, ChatGPT hooked me up today. I couldn't remember a song. All I could remember was the part in the background that was like, oh, and I put that into ChatGPT, and it just started fucking suggesting a bunch of shit, and then I found out it was Welcome to Jamrock.
This is not World War 1 or 2, but Hold Fast was one of the games that I remember. That one came out. That was Revolutionary War times? Hold Fast?
Hold Fast. Oh, is Hold Fast that game that I like?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so, but that's not the one we're thinking of.
See, the thing is, that's not. But I think that game's a fucking blast. Boston thought it was fucking annoying. Hell Let Loose. That's exactly the game I'm talking about. That like unless you get a game like that really like is like a super like a crispy fresh take on World War II. The World War II games are done. The problem with the World War I games, as Boston sort of alluded to, World War I was basically sitting in a ditch waiting for the other side to come through. Then you would mow them down with machine guns. And then you would send your guys through to get mowed down with machine guns. And typically before that, they would like shell the trench for like 3 straight days.
No one lost their minds.
Shoulder-fired machine guns either. Where it was there, it was more shoulder fire, like bolt actions and semi-autos, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had
guns were just like big things.
No, they had submachine guns in the First World War II, like machine pistols and things like that. I mean, it is really cool in that sense, like the variety of weapons that came into the First World War. Because one of the things about the First World War is that it was like a kind of a proving ground for a bunch of different technologies, and a bunch of different people found out their equipment was shit all at once. But they didn't know that because they had been fighting a bunch of mountain people.
Like the tanks. I heard that the tanks were scary, but a lot of the tanks like broke.
Yeah, well, dude, the tanks that's kind of a crazy concept because imagine you've never seen a tank ever and you're just sitting in a trench. And,
I've heard about that.
You know, like
people were like, we're in hell. This is hell. This has to be hell.
Dude, yeah.
What is this machine coming at me?
Going on every single time we just send guys over the top. And like, imagine you're just like a machine gunner. Like, you're not going over the top, thank God, because you get to pull the trigger on this machine gun in the nest. And then one day, through the smoke, you just see this fucking 12-foot cube coming at you.
Just like a machine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude. And then it just fires an artillery shell out of the front, and now you're dead.
And just running over everything.
This whole time you thought you were safe.
Bulldozing over everything.
Over
Here's the thing. Imagine having a World War I game, because you got games like Call of Duty and stuff, and obviously the Saving Private Ryan levels where it's like you're in the boats, and then you run into the water, and you run up the hill, and everything's like really action-packed. But like World War I would be a lot of like slow pace and then chaos. You're like in the trench for a long time, and then everything goes nuts. So imagine like a World War I game that blends a little bit more of like a horror aspect. It feels more like a horror game where you're like in the mist and everything is quiet. It would have to be. Then all of a sudden,
it would have to be something like that.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting to see.
Dude, I got to tell you something, and I'm not even just saying this, but it just happens that we're on the podcast, but I think that horror is a genre that is criminally underused. People use horror as an excuse to paint everything in blood and kill people in gruesome ways, but you can really, and I started thinking about this when the first Paranormal Activity came out when I was in college, you can scare the shit out of people. Like really horrify people. You don't need blood and guts and cutting people up.
So,
you know what I mean? Like
I have a point for this. Tying it back into video games here for a second. Have any of you ever played Fear 2?
No.
Negative. Talk to me about it.
They did horror. They did like game design horror in that so well, better than I've seen anything else my entire life. And so did Doom 3 actually, but in Fear 2 there's this section where you're just in a hallway in a high school classroom, and there's like lockers and it's very well lit, and then the lights will just flicker for 1 second and that's it, and then they'll let like 10 minutes go by and you like forget about it. You're in the combat with like the normal people, and then a locker will just open on its own. And then next thing you know, all the lockers are opening on their own down the entire hallway. The lights go out and you see the little girl there for a second, and then it cuts back to full white with all the lockers closed. And it's just like, oh my God, it was so good.
It's wild how creative people can get with horror when it comes to video games. Like I like things, and there's some like story games that are like indie horror games, and they'll do things where half the game it's like, you just moved to this new apartment and you have to take out the trash. So you like walk around the apartment and you find some trash here, and then you go over there and you pick up the trash. And it's like kind of like a mini game. But then you walk by a window, and as soon as your camera looks at the window, you can see the shape of someone, and they move away really quick, and that's it.
Oh,
and you're just like, what was that? Good. I just saw something. Like that kind of creativity is really sick to me. It's really cool.
Dude, that's so I've seen a lot of horror movies, and at some point when I was like 16 or 17, you start figuring it out because the plot's never that good, and like the characters are never that well written.
They're like walking around the corner slowly, and you're like, here's the jump scare. There it is. The music stopped. It's quiet. Jump scare. They're gonna jump scare.
Oh yeah, no. Or the other thing they'll do is like all of a sudden we got a high pitched whine slowly building. Here it comes any minute now. We're gonna get and like. Great, bro. But like, by the time I was like 16, I had figured that out. But I watched a lot of Doctor Who in like high school and like college, and like, dude, there's a bad guy in Doctor Who. They're called the Weeping Angels, and their shtick is that they when you look at them, they're a statue of an angel that's crying into their hands. But when you look away, they will come and fucking kill you.
Yeah,
so you have to look at them.
I've seen those. Yeah.
And the other issue is that if the lights go out, you're fucked. Like they can operate with impunity. You know what I mean? So like the lights will flash out all of a sudden.
Like this, then you close your eyes and then they're like
exactly, bro. And freaky. Like, dude, I'm sorry. That was always way more horrifying to me than there the Saw shit.
Yeah, agreed. It's like horror. There's like a bunch of different. I think it might have been Hitchcock that said this. There's like terror, there's horror, there's suspense. There's like different types of scares. Like one is like an unknown, if the threat's actually there kind of horror. Then there's like anyway,
I'll buy that.
But what I was going to say is, wasn't there a Doctor Who episode? I never watched Doctor Who, but I think I saw a scene from it where there's like I saw the angels, the Weeping Angels or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I saw a video on Twitter, and it was like this lady, or maybe it was YouTube. There's this lady, and she just like looks out her window, and there's just like a figure just standing out there. And then she goes home and looks out her window at home, and the same figure's just standing there looking at her. Like, doesn't get close to her, but it's just always like a little bit far away. And then eventually she'll send like her friend, like her boyfriend or her teacher or someone out to go talk to this person. It's like, can you tell them that they're creeping me out? Can you go talk to him? The person goes out, talks to the person, and then after the creepy person talks to the person the girl sends out, the person the girl sends out just takes off running, and the girl never sees them ever again.
Oh,
is that Doctor Who?
I don't know, but
isn't that freaky?
It's not
and
a fucking Doctor.
Then she sends her mom, and her mom just screams and runs off,
bro,
and she never hears from her mom ever again.
I'm not gonna lie, dude.
How freaky is that?
Shit, like, dude, there was a tingle that just ran down my spine.
It's like a creepypasta kind of thing.
Oh, dude, like,
yeah,
that fucked with me, bro. That fucking bullshit vignette that you just gave me, that 30-second anecdote, is better than any horror movie I've seen in the last 10 years. That did more to scare me than
you have that, which is like it's scary in a different way than like, oh, he's got a handcuff on his leg and he's got to saw his leg off, and you're like,
right.
This is different. It's a very different kind of fear. One's like gruesome, the other's more like it's an uncanny valley, kind of unsettling, like, what is this kind of thing.
The argument was made for that Midsommar movie or whatever, that it was like horror, but it was extremely well lit and beautiful like the entire time, you know?
Yeah.
But that was a movie too. It wasn't like my favorite movie, but it was a good movie. But it was like, there was no like nothing traditionally scary about it. It was just situationally.
Yeah, and it was a very unsettling movie. It's really good at it. Yeah. Midsummer's really good. And the other one that same guy did is Hereditary. And I think Hereditary is the best horror movie in 15 years. I think it's one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. Yeah. And it's not too, there is some gruesomeness to it, like to the story, but it's not like torture porn like Saw is.
You need to have some gruesomeness for it to be horror.
But like the cinematography, the scenes, the acting, the concept behind the whole narrative, it's a great one. Have you seen that one, Boston? Hereditary?
I have not, no.
I think it's the best horror movie I've ever seen.
We keep jumping on to movies, and we have we have like game.
I tried to bring us back in.
Right. Well, okay, so we got game iconic. We were talking about like, actually, I introduced the topic. Did I even tell you what the topic was? Really?
What we were talking about was like, what makes a good game, bro? Like, what are the core like elemental parts, bro? Is it the economy in the game? Is it the cosmetics? How much strategy you got to employ? How much you enjoy it? Can you really quantify that? Do good graphics make a big deal? Is sound design essential? Does there need to be a social or a competitive aspect to the game? Do the physics need to work? What's necessary? What's good to have? Where do these things kind of rank? For me personally, okay, go ahead. Yeah, I love that. Go ahead.
You do not need good graphics to have a good video game. It's one of the
totally fucking features. Agree.
I agree to a point. There's like a real sweet spot, but people usually push it so far beyond that it matters.
That's middle school. That's middle school Luke talking about it, bro. Graphics have not mattered
Xbox
since we were in the 7th grade, bro. Straight up.
That's true.
They have not.
Look at us now. We're playing Valheim, and Valheim can look like the worst game I've ever played with certain camera angles, honest to God. And sometimes it's like, okay, it looks pretty good. Like the world design is so good that you don't necessarily need the good graphics, because you know what? They got the light reflecting off the water and a couple trees.
Yeah, and they got like sunlight. Well, there's something to be said about like modern gaming. They have AI, and AI lets you do something called DLSS, which like upscales the image. And so a lot of games right now are actually like, they don't optimize the game very well, but then they use AI and stuff to cover it up. So the game actually runs a little bit better, but they're like being really lazy about the optimization. So for me, I'm like, just make the graphics worse. Like, make the game run well. Like I want the game to run well. I want it like the graphics are way overrated. I think that's what we all agree on.
Correct. Really
unnecessary, way overrated. Graphics have been pretty good for a long time.
I think that the most important feature of a good game is gameplay loop, in my personal opinion.
What is that when you say loop?
I guess the best way to explain what I'm trying to explain is like, what are you actually doing in the game over and over again? And does the game make you want to keep doing it without losing interest, right? So like, I've heard that good games, every 45 seconds you have something to do. Like if you're with probably DayZ being the only exception. But most games, every 45 seconds, you're either entering a new fight or you're doing something else or you're seeing a new map marker. You know, that's like the magic marker, 45 seconds. There needs to be something presented to the player, right? And games that have a really good gameplay loop where you're just going from thing to thing to thing and you're just like, I can't wait to get to the next one, whatever that might be. And switching from one to the other is like extremely important to good game design, in my opinion.
So I
want to play the game, right?
I think that's very important. And an example of a game, Witcher 3. So like I like the story, I like the world, I like the graphics, I like a lot of things about it, but I don't really like the combat, and I don't really like even like the world's okay, but I'm not really excited to explore and travel in it, which is like a big aspect of the game. And I know people really love that game, so once again, I'm gonna try and get rid of as much of our audience as possible by just hating on things that everyone loves. But I'm saying that like great game. But I didn't really enjoy like the mechanics of like how it played. So I just like kind of stopped playing it. It wasn't like, you know, I mean, all sorts of different games, but there's something about, hard for me to describe, something about like movement, something about like, you know, like even like cutscenes. Sometimes games you'll get in a cutscene and you just get stuck and it's like, well, I'm watching a movie now. And you have to kind of sit there and watch it. You can't move the camera or anything. Sometimes little things like that, like let me move the camera. Let me like, don't lock me when I'm playing a game. Like little things like that kind of matter to me sometimes.
They used to heat me up so hard. There was I can't remember which Tony Hawk's Pro Skater it was, but the camera was like auto, and it used to fucking piss me the fuck off, bro. Like, God,
I think it was what's his name? Todd Howard, the guy who did Elden. What's it called? Elder Scrolls.
Skyrim. Yeah.
I know he's controversial, but I did hear him say something that I thought was really interesting, where he's like, in Skyrim or in Oblivion, you can like. Everything's physics. Like there's a cup, you can knock it off the table, there's plates and stuff. And fun fact, sometimes when I'm playing Skyrim and I talk to someone and they make me angry, I'll jump on their table and spin around and it'll throw all the plates and forks and glasses off the table, and then I'll leave.
But then every time you come back to the house, the stuff is still on the ground. It's incredible.
Yeah, I really like that. I love the physics of Skyrim and stuff like that. I think that's really fun. But he made the point that even in like a shooter game, when there's like stuff on the table and you shoot it and it does nothing, there is like a tiny part of you that's like, oh, I wanted to like that to explode. And his argument for it is that it kind of robs you of like being a part of the world. You're like, oh wait, this thing's ignoring me. I can't destroy it. It's like ignoring, this cup is ignoring me. I'm not a part of the world enough that I can affect this cup. And it's like very subtle. But I do agree with that kind of stuff where it's like, guys, the shadows, the graphics, they're great. I'm like, but I can't shoot the glass off the table, or I can't nothing's interactable. And I really think that makes a big difference. That's why physics is on here, actually.
Why even put the cup there in the first place if you can't shoot it? You know, you might as well just like do something else.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's a very subtle thing. It doesn't matter that much to me, but like I want to feel like I'm in the game. And if the
that's a very good point.
Things are ignoring
that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I think that Grand Theft Auto, or one of the things that not Grand Theft, but all the Rockstar games do really well is like, oh, I'm gonna smoke this cigarette and I'll be able to shoot better for the next 15 minutes, you know, or
and
like
I'm gonna
drink this whiskey
in the Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto.
They respect the shit, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm
you're riding a horse and you ride the horse a little too close to the edge, and your horse trips and then you fall down a cliff. Like things like that. Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. I think that makes games.
Like for another example of this would be like in the Halo games, when you shoot your teammates, they're like, watch it, Chief. You shoot them again. They're like, oh, I know you didn't mean to shoot me. You shoot them a third time and the whole squad turns and tries to kill you, you know? And then in other games, you could just unload a full magazine into your teammate and it doesn't like, you know, they don't react at all.
And
it's like another
and there's no blood. There's no bullet hits. It's just like, it's subtle. It's very, I'm not saying, and here's what's interesting, I think, is I don't think any of us are saying, if I can't kick the cup off the table, bad game. It's like, not really, but
right.
But it does.
No, definitely not.
All the little nickels and dimes add up over time in a game.
Yeah. Like, I used to be under the impression that if you shot all the bottles in Gears of War, there was an achievement. And I don't remember where I was under that impression from. It had to be some middle school shit. But the point is, that's only because we could shoot the bottles in the first place. And I love that we could shoot the bottles in the first place. you know. It never bothered me. I was gonna do it anyway. Even now that I've been disavowed of that notion, I still shoot the fucking bottles.
Whenever we play Night Rain and we go back to the menu area where you're like running around and leveling up and stuff like that, I always do one loop around the table and destroy all the chairs around the table. I try to do it. I try to do it in one loop where I just sprint and just go. I just run through all the chairs, dude, or I'll just roll through everything to destroy it. You know, while I'm waiting.
That is peak Elden Ring energy. That is peak. Fuck this game.
You know what this comes back to?
I hate that I play this game.
This comes back to. I don't know the first one because I haven't played these games much, but it's like Legend of Zelda, where the pots are there and you can destroy the pots. You're like, why are you destroying the pots?
That was one of the Game Boy Advance versions. You could pick the pots up and throw it at its enemy,
and you have to destroy it. It's like you see the pots and you're like, oh, these are supposed to be destroyed. I have to break these, you know. And you shouldn't take that away.
One of the most. They were broken as fuck too, because like you could find like a pot or whatever that had like a 5 rupee fucking thing in it, and you could just like enter the area, break the pot, collect rupee, turn around, leave, come back, enter the area, break the pot, collect rupee, turn around, leave, come back, and just like grind that. And then guess what? Now I'm buying the fucking Bow of Hyrule. Da, 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 da. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fucking now I just broke the game. I have a weapon that I shouldn't have for at least a boss and a half.
You mentioned that the dun 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 dun, and then you like turn it into the camera and hold it up like the item that you found.
Dude, yes,
yeah,
bro.
I love that about Zelda. Yes. And this. I'm not saying that Red Dead is a bad game. I know we've talked about this, but like one of the things about Grand Theft Auto that it's like they step away from that a lot. Where it's like when you get an item, your character's like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, no big deal.
And it's
like
it's
the shotgun's
impressive.
Just now in my inventory.
It's impressive, but I do like this sort of game. I don't know how to describe it. It's like in the world of video games, when you find when you find an item, you open the chest, turn around, just hold it up to the camera, and then it's like I kind of like
dramatic shit.
Not exactly. It's like it's not really about it being dramatic. It's that it's, you know, like I remember in Wind Waker, at the very beginning of the game. Your grandmother gives you, I think, an outfit or something, and you don't like it.
Yes,
and you turn around and it goes dun 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 dun, and he holds it up to the camera, and he's literally got like a sad face, and then he turns around and he's holding it, and he's like sad, and he's talking to his grandmother, and you're like, okay, if this is a movie, why would he take the suit and like lift it up for no reason? And it's like, because that's the animation in the game when you get the item. It's a video game thing. It's not a movie thing. It's a video game thing. And I kind of like that aspect of games, that they have their own way that they work. It's not a movie. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do what they do in Grand Theft Auto, but I do kind of like video games sort of finding their own way of doing things, like Zelda in that example.
Like being janky, but the jank is like part of the game, and so you
it's
love
part of the
it.
charm. It's part of the medium. You know, like a movie is not a painting, a movie is not a play, a video game is not a movie. So it's like they kind of all have to find their own way and their own art style to do things.
Own kind of art form. Interesting. On this topic, I did want to drop one thing because we started having this conversation, and then I don't remember if it was Boston or Luke that like one of you guys just fucking 86'd it right away. You're like, save it for the podcast. So now I want to have the conversation. But Boston, you brought up the point about game economy, and Luke was like, I don't really follow what you guys are doing right now, but I'll watch. And I think this is one of these situations where you and I could have a fucking Dragon Ball Z versus Naruto last fight, because I think that both of us definitely value in-game economies. I think we value them for different reasons. I think we want different things out of them, you know? Like, go ahead, summarize your point. Like, what was your,
what is video game economy? I'm sorry to take charge a little bit, but I don't even know what video game economy really means.
Really, there's two different like ways of thinking about this. It's like a traditional in-game economy, like what RuneScape has, where you can go to the like Grand Exchange and sell things that you have a lot of. It's like a traditional in-game economy. And then like Skyrim has an in-game economy in the sense that you go into a dungeon, you pick a bunch of shit up, you kill people, you get gold, and then you can use that gold to do something else.
So you actually you actually value the gold because the gold is actually valuable because it's hard to get. Okay, I'm with you. Didn't mean to interrupt that, Eddie.
That's like a traditional in-game economy.
Okay.
Two different examples. One is like person to person, and another one is like the actual in-game economy of like, how you move. And not every single game is going to have one or the other, right? Like it's just unique to the style of game that it is for the most part. The second that I would say for in-game economy would be like scarcity of items, and like I'll just use Valheim since we're all playing it as an example, right? Like the only way to get to those withering bones so that you could summon bone mass is to be strong enough to go into the crypt caves and survive on a regular basis. So it's like almost like a speed bump the game builds in. Like you need to be able to do all of this other stuff before we'll allow you to get this thing that allows you to do the next thing. And you just keep building up and building up and building up. You always have something that like you're working towards that's like of value to you, and then as you get further on, the raspberries in the meadows don't mean fucking shit anymore. It's just like
I need to throw this out there because do you remember when I went in that crypt and I was like, I'm good, I can run this, I'll be fine on my own, and then I ran into a 2-star bow guy, and I was like, no way, oh no, and it was like it just really screwed me up, and I got killed, and I had to go back, and it was the whole thing. I looked up online, and apparently every enemy that spawns has a 9% chance of being a 1-star, or 1-star, and a 1% chance of being a 2-star. So when I went into that crypt, knowing how unlucky I was that he happened to be a 2-star changes the whole game. Because now whenever I see a 2-star, I'm like, this is a 1 in 100 chance that this happened. But anyway, just throwing it out there because I thought that was kind of related. But anyway, okay, so I'm with you. Eddie, you were asking Boston a question that I kind of interrupted.
I don't remember what the question was, but I do want to bring light to the fact.
Well, you talked about Dragon Ball Z versus Naruto. I don't know if you're going to remember.
Yeah, no, this is the whole game economy thing. But before I do that, I just want to say, what a world we live in where we had to drag Boston kicking and screaming into the world of Valheim, and he just willingly brings it up in the podcast as a point of.
Well, it was a good way for me to explain the other like aspect of game.
Bro. Well, no, I'll throw this out.
You love the game.
I was very, very unsure about DayZ the first like 3 or 4 times we played it. I really was like, I don't know about this game, but like give it a chance, and then it's like, all right, this is pretty good. For what that's worth.
So let me add one more point about DayZ. So like this is another example of game economy, and I mentioned this before we started, but I'm going to repeat it. Like, let's say there's only 2 DMRs that spawn. That makes the DMR a very scarce item, and it gives you something to work up towards throughout your entire playthrough. Like, DayZ has no set objective, but if you want that item, you have to do this, to even get to a place where you have the chance to get the thing to go get it, or you take it off somebody's body, right?
Every building you check is like, maybe it's this one. No.
Right. Maybe and that's why giving it a fresh spawn the first time they play a bunch of guns
take it from them. Like, for me, it's the gold deagle. The gold deagle is my favorite thing to find. When I find a gold deagle, that's my favorite. Because it's just like, if I can find it, it's just like, yes. Because I don't see it very often, and it's gold, and so it's pretty, and it's hard to find.
It's such an
it's my favorite thing.
It's like an internal evil laugh. The minute you find it, you're just like,
yes. Especially if you kill someone to take it from them.
Sunglasses, Luke. You've evolved. It used to be a pair of sunglasses.
Well, great example, actually, because why? Because sunglasses economy, it's really easy to find sunglasses. So I still love sunglasses, and I will always take the sunglasses. But it's not as exciting because I know the rarity, the economy that's involved between. So yeah. Anyway,
my position on the economy was I think that the best game that I ever played that did economy was Bannerlord, and this is one of the things I was going to bring up when we were talking about it. But nobody's played Bannerlord. Boston axed that shit because he hates that game. Nonetheless, Luke, you should play it. Point is that in that game you can craft you craft 500 iron swords. Right. Well, if you show up in one town and you flood that market with iron swords, like the first one might get you 500 gold. The second one's going to get you 300 gold. The third one's going to get you 200 gold. It's diminishing returns, So you flood that market, you go to the next town, you flood that market. Pretty soon, if you're in the same country, but you've hit 3-4 different towns, the value of the iron sword is going to go down in another town. You know what I mean? So really keeps you thinking, making you I'm talking I guess what I mean is if a game is going to attempt an economy, what pisses me off is when you can accidentally break the game by making a shit ton of money by doing this and then buying your way through this thing. I mean, it's kind of cool, it's kind of fun, but also it's really
What?
I like when games make it like impossibly high. Like in Grand Theft Auto or in Red Dead, you can like buy your way up to the sickest guns or whatever. Maybe not in Red Dead, but
really
definitely in
quick to
Grand
jump
Theft Auto.
in, do you not like it? Do you think because it breaks the game where it's like, oh, I'm able to make so much money that now I no longer value all the things that I had before?
No, it's more for me.
Skyrim after a certain point where I would just speed run to the end of the dungeon.
I've done this where like I play a game. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go, keep going.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say I would just speed run to the boss chest because nothing else in the dungeon mattered to me anymore.
Sure.
So and another example would be DayZ. When I have a plate carrier and 2 guns I don't need to raid military anymore, so I just don't do it.
So like with mods or like dev commands, I've done this before where like I played a game where it was really hard to get the bazooka or really hard to get the helicopter or whatever, and then I figured out the dev commands, and then I turned on mods or whatever, and I was able to spawn a bunch of helicopters, and then I was like, I'm gonna spawn a bunch of helicopters and a bunch of grenades, and I'm gonna try to make the biggest explosion I can possibly make or whatever it is, and then I do it, and I do that for like 10 minutes, and it is fun, but then it just sort of wears off really quickly because there's no like pursuit. It's not like, guys, all day today, we're going to get grenades and we're going to stack them up. And at the end of tonight, we're going to blow up all the grenades at one time. So like the value is not there. So like you can just spawn a new grenade. Okay, we did this big explosion. And actually, one last little point. It means like I can just spawn all these grenades, blow them up. If it's not what I want, I'll just spawn more grenades and do it again. But if I had 5 grenades and I knew it would take me 10 hours of playtime to get those 5 grenades again, I'm going to be like talking to all my friends about like, where do we want to put these grenades exactly? Because we only have one chance to do this. We've worked 10 hours for this, and it just changes like the whole game. But I think that's all economy, that kind of enjoyment.
I mean, I think you're right. I think that is part of it. Because real quick, Boston, but I think that's one of the things. Like, I enjoy playing Ark. I have enjoyed playing Ark. One of the things I enjoy more about Valheim is that you run the server and you have a very strict like, nah, bro. If you want to build it, you have to mine it, or you have to do the thing. We're not gonna like dev command shit into this thing. I don't care how much easier it makes everybody's lives. We're gonna suffer through it, sort of, you know. And that's that I think it is one of the things that like has made that game more fun. I think that's 100% like an economy thing. Like you have to work your way up, you know, step by step by step. But go ahead, Boston. What were you gonna say?
No, just to add to your point, if we had turned on that console command like we talked about, where if you die you don't lose all your items, you can keep your like weapons or whatever, we would have never gone on that journey where we encountered sea serpents yesterday.
And it would not, yeah,
because I would
100%, exactly, and it wouldn't have been such a big deal. Where I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I want to go on this journey because I'm going to lose all my bronze items. And then I ended up losing them, and it's not a big deal. But it was like, if I could just spawn another bronze axe, it'd be like, build another boat, let's try it again. And it just would not be the same. You know, it's kind of weird how you
can just spawn the boat.
The inconvenience actually makes the game more fun.
Right. It creates scarcity, which is why, Eddie, you're going to hate this, is why I stopped playing on modded DayZ servers, because like the enjoyment of finding something is not there because they're around every single corner.
You're not wrong. I agree. The only reason I like playing on modded DayZ servers is because you get a lot of these tryhard kids who are like, yeah, I'm good because I play on a modded server. And then they run across you or me, and then they learn. They learn a lesson.
I think also...
that
oh, sorry. I thought you were...
Only somebody like you or I who was forged in the fires of an official server from day one and never fucking left can deliver, bro. Well, precision.
You had brought up pain. Like the server being kind of harsh on the server, where it's like, I'm not turning off the skill tree punishment. Excuse me. And I tend
to find myself enjoying games that have more punishing aspects to them these days as I get older.
Because you want to survive, you want to stay alive. And so, but what I was going to say is that when you haven't played a game, it's really hard to know, like, what's going to throw off the balance of this experience. And so, if we just turned off, okay, now you don't lose your weapons, and everyone's like, great, now I'm not annoyed when I die. But then it's like, now everyone's just going to sprint into the swamp and keep fighting one Draugr until they kill it, and then sprint and fight the next one, and sprint and fight the next one. And it's like, all right, I cleared the whole crypt. my first time playing, where we get up to next? And it's like, oh wow, all of that like build up to going into a crypt for the first time was ruined because we didn't understand the developers who programmed this game specifically to have an experience, and we like, you know, we thought we knew better than them, and we like altered it, and now we're like that's one of the problems with mods. I think mods are better after you've played vanilla for like, I don't know, 100 hours or something. Yeah, that's my point.
I have another point, and let me know if you think this is game economy or not. And I know you'll feel very passionately about this one, Luke. When a developer breaks something in a multiplayer experience, it can completely throw off the economy of the like multiplayer experience. An example I'm going to give is if you have a broken gun in Call of Duty Warzone, 90% of the players are running the exact same setup and kit, and it completely eliminates the variation out of the game. Whereas if you have a really well balanced sandbox like Halo, like you see all of the variety that's available in the game 100% of the time.
So I do agree. I think there's some, like early Warzone, not everyone was into metas, not everyone was into the competitive scene. And so when you went online and you figured out the meta, and then you took the time to level up that gun, and then you like earned having a better gun in Warzone, I like that. But unfortunately, as Warzone progressed, it's like everyone's sweaty, everyone's looking at the meta, everyone's like into it now, and so then every single player is running the whatever it is, you know, the PPSH or like the MAC-10 or whatever it is. It just like
got hyper competitive.
I don't know if Warzone can ever be fixed because of how the culture of gaming changed.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. It's that game is statistically driven, and it is of a competitive nature, and so people will always, and there is nothing like that. They get to decide what the numbers are, not the individuals and what they bring to the table. It's just how many bullets can I get onto this person in the shortest amount of time. These are all constant variables.
It's too mainstream. I mean? And so, and everyone's aware of that now.
Can't.
And I'm not saying that like can't. I liked it when I could get a leg up on people necessarily, but it would be like you'd fly into Warzone. You could get a couple kills because you'd run into noobs that didn't know what they were doing. But then the circle would keep shrinking, and eventually you're going to run into the meta sweats at the end. But now it's like, dude, I landed, I just got like curb stomped by 5 sweats right at the beginning.
You land and 3 fucking retired Navy SEALs and their one like friend's kid who's an absurd gamer on a $17,000 gaming rig just came through and took your shit out. And now you're in the fucking gulag against some other dude who fucking streams.
Just got off work and got spanked all day by his boss, and then comes home and gets fucking spanked by some 14-year-old wet lord.
Yeah, exactly.
Has no joy in their life anymore.
You're like, I'm a bitch at work. They get on their game. I'm gonna play this game. I'm a bitch in this game. Just like.
That's so funny because I've never pictured that. I've pictured that guy before, but never as losing to the 14-year-old and being like, "What the fuck is my life?"
And the 14-year-old like voice chats him. You suck dick, and it's a 14-year-old.
Just GG.
It's like someone 10 years older than me is killing me at my job, and then I play video game, and someone 10 years younger is spanking me in the video game.
That's definitely something that gaming culture has done. Is it's taken politeness and made it rude, bro. Think about the level of rudeness it is to just like message a guy GG after you fucking spank his ass in whatever game for getting that message. Like, think about how rude that is. But also
it's
pause.
Like, GG, and you're like,
let's remember that we were growing up, and they were always like sportsmanship, guys, shake hands, good game, the whole thing, you know. And like, bro, but that's not what it is. That's the thing. Is we're not like lining up and shaking hands. That's what I'm saying. We're not lining up and shaking hands at the end of a kickball game. You know what I mean? You're just like, "Hey, bro, good game." Like you're laughing at them. Well, I mean, like you're just like, dude. It's like you guys are celebrating in my face right now. Like this is, but it's fucking like, dude. What happened? What happened to
saying GG is like handing him a participation trophy.
Dude, bro, yeah, it's man, that's the visual. The visual on that is fucking.
So we have about, just sorry to take over, Eddie, but we have about 15 minutes maximum that we want to go. We're at an hour now, so we got 15 minutes. I don't think we really have a lot of time for the last topic, but we haven't really like addressed what we're talking about here. So for the next 15 minutes, can we try and, I guess, come back and say, like, we were talking about gaming pieces, what makes gaming valuable, and we went off in economy and physics and all that stuff, and I think it was a good conversation. But how can we bring it back and then tie this up and then end the episode?
Well, the most important part of gaming is doing it with your friends, and that's why we're here today. But we left the games at home to provide a much better user experience, or viewer experience, should I say. But at the end of the day, we're going to hop off this podcast here, and we're going to fire up some Halo Reach Firefight and run one real quick before I go to bed.
Dude, Boston does make a really good point. I think the best part of a game, because we talked about this, or maybe we didn't. I don't know if we mentioned that multiplayer is like necessary for a game, but man, a game that you can run with your friends is such a, like, in the modern day, it's such a godsend. Because, like, here's the thing, Luke, you live in fucking Colorado. You know what I mean? Boston's in a completely different city from me. You know, I'm all the way in fucking Miami. The fact of the matter is, we would not be able to hang out as much as we do, but for the fact that we have video games. You know?
Yeah.
So and true. I think that multiplayer aspect is big. I think a game that is not that good can survive a lot longer on the fact that its multiplayer is engaging and allowing for people to like hang out. You know, in that sense, I do think that you know, that kind of matters. Because here's the thing, right? We talked about this during the tier list. Red Dead multiplayer is not that good. Could I probably talk you guys into going and playing multiplayer with me like a couple times? Sure, but we're not going to play Red Dead multiplayer like we play Valheim or like we play DayZ. It would be like a one day let's play yada yada bullshit. It would not be, you know, it's just there's just certain games, and Warzone was that game for a long time, and you know, I think it's like you said, you know, it just got too sweaty, bro.
Age of Empires was that game as well. There was a period where we did some serious.
Bro, Age of Empires is that game, bro. You just get too stressed out to play that game, bro. I would play that game right now, bro. I play that game all the time because I don't care, bro. Let me at them, bro. I just want reps, bro. I literally, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Like, let's.
Dude, we did it. Just random aside. We did a Marvel tier list, and then we talked about Doctor Strange. And then Josh, the guy who plays with us on Valheim, said that line, and I was like, "Oh, that's what Eddie is quoting."
Dude, that's one of my favorite lines of all time. Because
we ranked that film much higher because of that whole scene.
Dude, the philosophical aspect of that scene and the way it hits you, that's one of my favorite scenes in Marvel, because you really don't know you don't understand like what the strategy is, and then like it slowly dawns upon you at the same time it dawns upon Dormammu, and it's like, oh man. And then like later on you find out, like, you don't find out, but like they talk about it if you're like a nerd and you watch like the interviews of them, they're like, yeah, Doctor Strange was in there for hundreds of thousands of years, locked in the time loop with Dormammu, and like we experienced it over like 10 seconds, you know what I mean? So like it doesn't like hit the same way. But then when you think about that and the philosophy of like, yeah, bro, this guy was just gonna fucking trap this dude. It's just like, oh,
the patience of I'm gonna trap you forever.
Dude, so it's so good. That's it's like my own mantra sometimes. Like when I'm stressed out, I'm like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Like, so that's an aside. So to bring it back though, I hate to say this because it feels really like a cop out, to be honest. Like we're talking about economy, cosmetics, strategy, enjoyment, graphics, sound effects. Like all physics, everything, social, and now we've got kind of social, where it's like, oh, games you play with your friends is like kind of one of the ultimates, and I would agree. I think that is kind of the best experience you can have in any gaming is like playing with your friends, doing something that causes stories. I probably should have put that in here actually. Stories like that you talk about at work the next day. But really quick, just to hammer the point home. Like I said, this is a cop out, but I do think it's the experience. Like, what's the experience like when you play with your friends versus you play single player? It's competitive, or it's social. Like, sometimes playing games really competitive is fun, and sometimes it's fun to just be like, let's do this. Let's all get this weapon and go in the helicopter. We're gonna get shot down, but let's do it. And like, it's all about like the entertainment and the experience of it. That's kind of where I think it all comes together.
Right. Like there was no point in me building a diving board in Valheim, but we can all agree that shit's sick as fuck.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And I'll remember that. That's a big thing for me is like, will I remember us doing this like 5 years from now and be like, oh yeah, remember when we did that diving board, or when we went to the crypt for the first time, or when we all got killed in the boat? Disagree. Surprising.
I think that diving board is one of the best things that we have built in Valheim, bro. I think few things are better than that. I can't believe truly that I did not consider this beforehand. I love that you were like diving boards, and then you fucking broke the game physics with it. Like I love when you fucking hit the water and then like you should be dead splat on the ground, but you hit the water, so the equation is now nothing.
Well, also there's an argument to be made about the skill reduction, because when I jumped off that diving board, there was 5% of me that was like, I don't want to die here and lose 5% of my skill. So there was like a thrill of jumping off it and hoping that I make it. But that's like where the game restricted it a bit, and it made it more fun.
That's so funny, because I remember like running off the diving board and jumping and being like, oh shit. Like it wasn't when I was in the air, I was like, oh shit, this might kill me. I might lose 5% of my skills.
Every single person thought that, because when Boston jumped off, he didn't splash and go into the water. He like hit the water and was just standing. So he just barely made it into the water that he was standing, and then I jumped, and as I'm jumping, I'm like, Boston jumped off this, and he didn't have anything equipped at all because he's like naked. He just had like nothing on, and I'm jumping with iron armor and an iron helmet, and I went, I might not make this, and so I'm flying through the air, just going, here we go. But it was great. It was fun, and nobody died. No one's died off the diving board yet.
No, which is kind of disappointing, honestly. But all right, one last thing.
That's why rules.
I was just gonna say, like, we all agree playing with the friends is the best. I really appreciate that you captured our DayZ Chronicles, because sometimes, you know, maybe I had one too many things to drink during a play session here or there, and my memory is a little foggy, but then I get to go back and relive it, and so I love that.
I mean, that's part of the reason I got into like filming gaming, because you know, you play for a bunch of hours, but then there was like one moment that's like, oh, I wish I could catch that. Because here's the thing about, if you think about, you know, all the tapes together, all the chronicles together, it's like, you know, I think it's 4.5 hours total, the whole thing all together, 4.5 hours of video. But excuse me, sorry. Ooh. Every clip you're seeing in that was when we were playing. I was like, this is a good moment. Oh, this is a good moment. And the whole video is just that, which actually this kind of brings it to full circle when I talked about movies where you get 10 takes from this actor and 10 takes from this actor, and it's like, let's get the best takes and then make a movie. And it's kind of like that, but we played for, you know, I don't know, 100 hours or maybe more, 200 hours, whatever it was. And then we end up with 4 hours of just like the best moments. And yeah, so yeah, I'm glad you like it. It's fun. Sick, playing with friends, getting clips, getting memories, making little stories. It's one of my favorite
things I've been a part of.
Hell yeah, that's good to hear. It's fun too. I think like stories in video games in general, when you play with your friends, you end up with a story, memory forever.
I think what made that so fun is, and this is I think what makes DayZ so fun, is it's so open ended that you either have to make the story up in your head, you have to live the story of surviving, or you get with your boys and then you have to go through the shit of trying to survive. And that in and of itself will create its own story. And, you know, I think that the strategy of trying to survive and everything creates a shit ton of enjoyment. And I think that's one of the reasons that DayZ is such an enduring game. I think a lot of games could take notes from DayZ. The thing is, as crazy as it sounds, this is my hot take on games, I think that there are still genres to be discovered in video games. You know, that's a thought I have a lot when I play DayZ, because DayZ is not. It's a survival game, obviously, but it's not any of those other things. I have that thought too with Valheim too. Like, you know, I think that there are still some there's some ground to be breached. There's we haven't gotten all of the ore out of the vein. There's new genres I think on the horizon that are going to be sick.
Yeah, definitely.
So I had one point to make because I know we're trying to wrap this up here, but one of the things, this is going to tie two pieces of the puzzle together here. Well, I'll try to tie it all in together, right?
Yeah, so we close out with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about the game economy of DayZ, where there's like scarcity in the items, so on and so forth. You can get them through player interactions. They're putting time in. The graphics aren't that good. It does take a lot of strategy to survive in that game. We didn't really touch on that, but it does. The sound design is good, especially when you're like trying to hear shots. It's good. It's social. It's competitive. It has pretty good physics overall. You can throw grenades and stuff, but like, to tie something together, it's like it has all that, but then you overcomplicate that because when we're playing as a team of 4 or 5 people, it completely breaks the economy of the game. The game is situated towards the loot economy of a solo player than it is a team. And so it's like we need 5 times the food, but we're not hitting 5 times the locations. So there's like, I think that complicates our run so much, but it just creates those situations that like we enjoy, like as another like element of the game.
Well, I think that's
my final thought.
That's part of the game's natural scaling, but I'm with you 100%. So, hell yeah! All right, gentlemen. Well, I think some solid conversations. Luke, how much time are we up to?
An hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. Because we started exactly at 8. Remember? Right. So.
Yeah,
but yeah, we're done. So if you can wrap us up, I'll cut the recording as soon as you give me the signal.
Well, okay. This is us wrapping it up. Call this a signal. I'll see you guys next time.
Yep.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.